I love Stardew Valley, but another thing I love are difficulty settings. They ensure that everyone's able to enjoy the game, no matter how good they may be. But as far as base Stardew goes, all you can do is adjust your profit margin and choose a different farm, which doesn't really affect much. And while yes, turning your profit margin up does make it take longer to accomplish your goals, I don't think that having to do more farming or more money making is considered difficult. So with the power of mods, I'm going to create both an easy mode and a hard mode. The first mod that I want to talk about, this is going to go for both easy and hard mode. It is indispensable. It's going to be the generic mod menu mod. It allows you to configure all of your mods within the game itself instead of opening up settings sheets and config files to change anything. So for the easy mods, it's important to find the line between making things easier and cheating. So like CJB cheats menu, of course, not on the table. I'm also not going to include mods that give you more information like the UI info suite mod because I'd prefer to focus on making the actual gameplay different. So the first thing we're going to do is make longer days. It's a common complaint in the community, days are too fast. So using the longer days mod, we're going to slow it down by 2 times. And then we're going to enable you to speed time up whenever you want by sitting down. You can see the villagers actually speed through walking everywhere so that they don't get out of sync. Works pretty well. Another common complaint many people have is the difficulty of fishing, but I don't just want to cut out the fishing minigame, like many mods seem to do. Instead, we're going to use the Fishing Made Easy Suite mod to adjust some settings. Now, looking at all the settings we have available, you can make this as easy as you want, but for my specific settings, we're going to make fishing difficulty 15% easier. We're going to make the chance of you getting rare loot from fish ponds 2 times higher, and I believe that just includes anything that isn't roe. And we're going to enable us to craft the curiosity lure at level 9. Normally it can only be found in rare drops in the Skull Cavern. And that's it. The fishing minigame stays in the game, but it's a little easier to cope with. Next, to make traversal more convenient, we're going to use the mod Stardew Enhanced Shortcuts. This adds a bunch of extra paths from areas like the park up to the mountains, or the museum all the way down to the beach, things like that. And with the mod menu, we're going to disable any shortcuts that coincide with the community upgrade that you can buy at Robin's, since I still want there to be a reason to buy that upgrade. Making a change to the combat and mining portion of the game was hard to nail down. I do feel like one point of contention for a lot of people is the Skull Cavern, and you can see I've installed the Skull Cavern elevator mod. However, I think that the elevator stopping every 5 floors is a bit overpowered, but I saw that you can set it to appear every certain number of floors. So I think a fair number is every 50 floors. This cuts in half the amount of floors you need to reach in one sitting to eventually get your iridium milk. So you can start on floor 50 if you like, and then once you've reached floor 100, you can keep going back to floor 100 and get a lot of iridium ore all at once if you've accomplished it once. That feels a little overpowered, but fair. Now, unfortunately, that actually is one mod that you're going to have to go into the config file for. Just open up the folder containing the mod, open up config.file or whatever it's called, and change one of the values on the settings. It's as easy as that. Now, one other change I've made to the combat portion is the wear more rings mod, and I've set it to have 4 slots. That's realistic. You got 10 fingers. It's realistic that you would wear 4 rings. You're not breaking any immersion there. This just increases the amount of kinds of builds you can do and increase your raw stats. If you want to wear 4 ruby rings, go for it. Go crazy. All right. Something to help with farming. I'm going to put it in. You know it. You love it. It's the tractor mod. But I have severely changed all of the options. First of all, it does not go any faster than your regular walking speed. It only reaches a distance of 2, and honestly, I think that's already like pushing it a bit. And it doesn't do anything other than hoe spots, plant seeds, and harvest crops. That's it. That is all. It shouldn't have to be like a easy clear everything button. It is literally just for farming. I think this very limited version of it is appropriately powerful for how much it costs to get the tractor. Alright, now for some smaller rapid fire changes. The winter grass mod. Normally all grass disappears in winter, which can make it difficult to feed your animals. No longer. Using the bigger backpack mod, there's now one more backpack upgrade, allowing you to get up to 4 inventory rows. Honestly, this is a mod that feels like a must-have if you're running a bunch of expansions, just because of how many items there are in those. Help Wanted adds multiple quests to the bulletin board every day, so that you just have more choices on what you want to do. And it can make it a little bit easier to get friendship with all of the characters. And we can prevent friendship decay with the Friendship Without Talk mod. And now to finish off the easy mode mods, I'm going to give a few farm suggestions. These are all modded farms that give you a little bit more than the defaults. First, we have the Overgrown Garden Farm. This is a huge map with a lot of foraging items. There's areas to fish in. There's warps all across the map that allow you to get around easier. And every single spot, whether it's grass or not, can be hoed and planted on. The Strawberry Fields farm is similarly large, but it's already pre-sectioned out, so you don't have to think too hard on how you're going to lay out your farm. Here we have like a huge dirt patch that could be farming area. We have a penned-in area that could have your animals. It's very organized, makes it easy to think. So for this last farm that I want to show off, I'm just pointing it out because I've never seen it before. It adds a new tab instead of replacing one of the existing farms. And the last farm is the Zenith farm, and I'm just realizing right now that all of these are made by Daisy Nico. This places your farm at the top of a cliff, which is really cool because you get to see this view and it changes depending on the weather or the season. And just like all the other farms, it has plenty of space. There's naturally forming hardwood stumps that will respawn every day. And it's a lot of really open space. So finding mods for hard mode was a bit, well, harder. A lot of people want more convenience, few want a challenge, and even fewer want a challenge that isn't make less money and die in one hit, apparently. So this first one is mostly because I think it's funny, but it does fit in with the harder aspect of it. Hunger and thirst bars from Survivalistic. 2 more bars to juggle. Basically, if you drink anything, it'll refill your thirst bar. If you eat anything, it'll refill your hunger bar. And they will drain faster if you do actions, just like your energy bar. All right, 2, 1. Looks like our energy bar starts dropping fast with any activities. Although it's only if we, nope, okay. So it does drain passively, but if you do an action, it'll drain much faster. And I want to point out, soups are incredibly overpowered with this mod because they will fill both your thirst and your hunger bar, which is pretty neat. We're bringing back the Fishing Made Easy Sweet mod because, surprisingly, it has a lot of options to make fishing harder as well. This time we're going to make fishing 15% harder and lock the legendary fish to 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Make it a little bit strict so you don't have all day to get them and you'll probably only get one chance. So when it comes to combat, I've never been a fan of all the mods that are just like, oh, you take a lot of damage now. So what I've added instead is the stronger and more random monsters mod. So yes, they do deal more damage now, but depending on your daily luck, they now have a chance to range in terms of their speed, health, random actions, so sometimes they'll just like walk around and do whatever, and aggro range. And wow, that does a lot of damage, so I'm guessing I don't have a good luck day. So the better your luck is, the more of a chance it has to be randomly low in all of those options. So less health, less damage, less speed and all that. But you can see, they can get kind of crazy if you have a bad luck day. This is a fun one. I've always found it so hard to find a good community center bundle mod because a lot of the hard mode ones are like, oh, instead of 99 wood, you need 999 wood. Oh, you need 50 parsnips instead of 5. Well, I found a good one, the All Community Center Bundles mod. This makes it so at the same time you need to get all of the remixed and vanilla bundles to complete a certain room. Now, fair warning, This is a .xnb mod, which means you actually need to swap out the files of your game instead of just putting it into the mods folder. When you do this, make sure that you make a copy of the original folder so that whenever you wish to uninstall the mod, you can just put that back and it'll be like normal. There's really not a lot of mods that make the game harder, but we still do have a couple of farms that I want to show off. Our first farm choice is the Survival Island farm. It's a fairly small area and it's really mixed up by a bunch of cliffs and rivers, so you're not going to have a lot of contiguous land. It's not like it's a super incredibly difficult farm, but it's definitely going to have some inconveniences for you. If you do want an incredibly difficult farm though, I have the tiny farm. I don't even need to zoom out for this one. This is all you got. In fact, if I zoom out, it doesn't even fit in the whole screen. This is it. No greenhouse, just a little bit of area. Build whatever buildings you can, plant whatever you can. It's not gonna be a lot. I think this fits perfectly into challenge runs or even just like a different pace. If you don't want to focus on your farm too much and want to do everything else, this is the farm for you. And that's all I've got for you. As always, feel free to not use any mods or add any mods that you like into an easy mode or hard mode run. It's not like they all have to be played together. I just like showing off mods and themed sets. And while I have you here at the end, I want to talk about the upcoming 1.6 update. And if it already is out, you can maybe ignore this, but a lot of these mods might not work once 1.6 comes out. You're going to have to keep an eye out for what mods get updates, watch your Smappy screen to see if there's any red messages, and if so, address them, or maybe just not use that mod. It's gonna be a time where you'll just have to keep an eye on things. Once 1.6 does come out, I will only talk about mods that work with 1.6, but that's in the future. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and good night.